Good morning, Cedar Park, and welcome to the Wolfcast. Today is Wednesday, February 28th, and it's an A-Day. On today's show, learn about how one of CPHS's students created a logo for a local organization.
And get the latest on KFC's newest menu option, plus an all-new Fact Check.
Also, catch a preview on the upcoming Princess Tea production and an all-new Pet of the Week.
Turn it up because the Wolfcast starts now. Good morning, Cedar Park. I'm Kira Cox, and I'm here this morning with Reed Cummins and Lulu Lynch.
A logo designed by one of CPHS's very own graphic design students is about to make its way into the community.
The Parks and Trails Foundation is a new and upcoming organization focused on preserving wildlife.
So one of our students got to craft and make a logo for them. Let's take a look at the behind the scenes of this creation process. From Nike to McDonald's, logos are some of the most important parts of any brand. Good logos make it to where with just at a glance, you know. So when the Parks and Trails Foundation of Cedar Park started earlier this year, they knew creating a logo was a priority. They decided to turn to CPHS's student-led graphic design program, Timberwolf Agency, for help. T-Wolf Agency Executive Editor Natalie Murray is one of the students who joined in on drafting their own logo submissions. By the end of the week's long process, her design was the one chosen.
Like, oh my gosh, like that's going to be my logo, especially when they came in the other day and they were like, yeah, it's going to be like, everything is going to be like our website, we're going to make posters. It's like, it's so surreal, honestly.
Murray spent weeks perfecting the logo. She started off sketching drafts by hand and then designing the sketches digitally with Adobe Illustrator. Eventually, she met with the foundation board member to review and get some feedback on how to tweak and polish her draft to match their vision.
But I do think it gives us identity. Mm-hmm. It very succinctly shows, a beautiful tree in the hands. And I love the hands. Those are my favorite part because it's really like the community's holding the foundation in its hands. And that's really what I love, that kind of how it evolved to represent us and who we are.
Murray's design will now become the foundation's official logo, going on websites, t-shirts, business cards, and more. She says the design is a big addition to her portfolio of work.
I'm excited to put it on my portfolio. I think it's definitely a big thing to brag about, for sure, and I'm excited to do that because I know it's a big deal, especially when the organization becomes a really prominent part of Cedar Park, which I really hope it does because it's a great organization. They're really fighting to preserve wildlife and nature and make it open and get people outside, and I think that's a really important part of Cedar Park that I'm glad they're establishing. So I think it's kind of awesome to get to be a part of that.
We would like to congratulate Natalie Murray for having her logo chosen and representing this foundation. If you would like to check out this foundation, you can go to Parks and Trails Foundation, cedarpark.org.
Thanks, Lulu. The choir department is once again putting on their annual department fundraiser, Princess Tea, to start off their spring season. This CP tradition has been going strong for several years and is looking like it will continue to be a hit. Each year, the senior members of the season's choir group get together to write a fantastical script featuring everybody's favorite Disney princesses. Senior Noah Avigdor has plenty to say about the process of producing this show with her fellow choir members.
We picked the arrangements and then we learned them in class, and recently we've been rehearsing after school to put together the blocking, and it's been a lot of fun because I've volunteered in it before, but this is the first year I actually get to perform in it, and with a bunch of awesome people, so it's been a great experience.
If you're interested in going, tickets are $22 and are being sold on the CPHS choir website. The shows are on March 2nd and March 3rd.
Our athletic training program is now one of the 20 finalists for the Dave Campbell Texas Football Training Staff Superstars of the Year Award. And now it's up to voters to decide the winner.
Fans will be able to vote now through March 11th. If you'd like to support our students, you can get a link to vote on our Insta story.
Now let's go to Austin Makaborski with today's headlines and this morning's brief. Austin.
Thank you, Kira, and good morning, Cedar Park. First, despite a commanding 80% win in the Michigan primary, President Biden faces intense dissent with a striking 13 uncommitted protest vote, exposing growing discontent over his stance on the Gaza conflict. The unexpectedly high uncommitted count surpassing 100,000 votes indicates a challenging road ahead for the president in navigating complex foreign policy issues. Michigan's diverse response adds an uncommon element to the political landscape, highlighting the shifting dynamics that could influence the upcoming elections. Next, wildfires are forcing excavations in Texas and Oklahoma. Texas Governor Greg Abbott is declaring a disaster in 60 countries as the largest blaze, Smokehouse Creek Fire, consumes more than 300,000 acres. Residents are urged to stay vigilant amid dry and windy conditions. Excavations are mandatory in multiple towns, hospitals, and neighborhoods. In Oklahoma, residents in Ellis and Roger Mills counties are advised to leave. Lastly, KFC introduced a pizza-inspired delight, the Cheesa, to its U.S. menu this week. The Cheesa, featuring 2 white meat fried chicken fillets, topped with marinara sauce, melted mozzarella cheese, and pepperoni. This limited time item made waves internationally after debuting in the Philippines in 2015. Customers could enjoy this Cheesa on its own or a part of his combo meal with KFC's secret recipe fries and medium drink. So, are we going to be eating this Cheesa?
That does not look
That
appetizing.
looks disgusting.
It looks gross, you think?
I just don't. It looks like, yeah.
If someone gave it to me for free and I was hungry, I'd eat
I
it.
feel like
I want to try it out. All the reviews are good.
I wouldn't
Really.
even try it.
All of the reviews.
The
really.
B-roll that was playing, he thought it was good.
That looks disgusting.
Dude,
It looked like he was really
just
into it.
eats
He was
crazy
like-
stuff for fun though. Like I feel
Yeah,
like
it's good when you have an
Well, have
exciting
you tried
palate.
it?
Is it in the
Not
United
yet.
States? Can you do that?
Yeah,
Can you-
it's added to the
So
US.
it
might have to-
debuted like
yeah.
9 years ago, and we're just now
now.
coming to the U.S.
It's coming.
Maybe
yeah.
there's a reason behind
Maybe
that. Maybe
there's
there's a
why.
reason
Maybe
it happened.
Maybe there's a reason why it's 9 years
That
later.
might be it.
We'll have to give it a try, I suppose. Well, thanks, Austin. Up next, an all-new Pack Chat right after this break.
Welcome back to the Pack Chat, our student voice opinion segment. I'm your host, Millie Suarez, joined by co-hosts Austin Macaborski, Molly Pinkerton, and guest Michael Meraki as we discuss this week's most trending topics. Let's jump in. First, the United States is one of many countries with a legal death penalty for standard crimes. Meanwhile, 112 countries have put an end to it legally. When the subject comes around, many people argue this punishment will allow justice and closure loved ones deserve. On the other hand, a main complaint is that the expenses go into execution, while the community question if this punishment really deters crime. So, do you guys think that the death penalty is ever a valid punishment?
Well, I did a research report on this for AP seminar pretty recently, and it turns out, well, for the most part, no. It's really only reserved for special cases. We only do about 80 in the country per year, and there's thousands of criminals, so it's not very common. And on top of that, if you've done something that can warrant the death penalty, you're probably going to get life without parole, and your life's basically over at that point. You're just spending all that time in prison.
If I could jump off of that, if you commit a crime worthy of the death penalty, I just don't understand why you would commit, why would you, if someone did something horrible, why would you do another horrible act? That doesn't cancel it out.
I don't understand what would.
Yeah, I think a more valid punishment would just to be locked up for the rest of your life, and I feel like that would deter crime because that person can't do whatever they're doing, and and that gives their loved ones justice because you know that they're not getting out anytime soon.
So this has actually been recorded in a couple states where there's no death penalty. So, a prisoner will be sentenced to life without parole, but there's no higher punishment than that. And if they're really just bad to the bone, so to speak, they'll just go around shanking other prisoners and guards, and there's just nothing they can really do about it.
I just think it's crazy how the main reason it is because the expenses are too high to do that. To not
I just know it's expensive.
Death penalty. I would say the main con of death penalty is that's just so unnecessary. I think it's just been around for so long. People are just not getting around to not doing that. Okay, next up, codependency can cause issues in some aspects of any relationship. Being able to depend on a partner, mother, friend is harmless, and an article by The Atlantic explores why codependency isn't so bad. In a reflection about the author's own codependent tendencies, they try to pose the argument that we can all be reliant on the needs and company of others. So is a relationship possible without codependency?
I think a relationship is possible without codependency because I feel like you don't have to rely on someone to do like normal relationship.
Yeah, to be your own person. You know?
If you're kind of basing yourself like in a relationship, the partner should be the one kind of the wind beneath your wings rather than the one you're trying to always build off of.
Yeah, I think in a relationship you can be dependent on each other, but
you shouldn't depend.
Yeah, you shouldn't. Everything shouldn't go on to that one person. And what do you think about it?
I feel like you should be able to depend on that person. Like if it's a good, healthy relationship and you two really know each
to
other
an
and
extent, you know.
trust
To an
each other, you should be able
extent,
to trust each other to be able to do stuff. But you shouldn't entirely rely on them because that's not
'cause that
healthy.
can be very unhealthy for both people.
Also goes
Pretty common,
outside of
I'd
healthy
say.
relationships, though. It's like in very unhealthy relationships, I see a lot of codependent people.
Yeah.
And it's like it's making it even worse for them to leave the situation that
Or
they're in.
even friendships, codependent friendships.
Oh yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
Like I've like seen like friendships.
been in
with
friendships
people-
where, like, I can't-
exactly,
you know, like, you
you
can't-
like they rely on you. Like it's just like a bad position.
Yeah, it can be very draining for both parties.
Exactly.
Finally, an ongoing debate about high school is if it is more beneficial to one's future to excel in the academic or athletic side of school. Head basketball coach at Dracula High School in Georgia invited an atmospheric scientist and professor to speak to the student athletes about the importance of the word student in their title, as well as encouraging them to excel in their education as well as they grind on the court. So, should students have the right to choose between athletics and academics?
I think just athletics are just, it's so hard to really make it like big in athletics and just like if you focus on your schoolwork and like study, you're gonna have a higher success rate of succeeding in that path rather than just based off numbers.
Well, I was a student athlete for my freshman year. I was doing swim and also trying to balance having a really good score in all my classes, and it was really difficult. You're having to wake up early in the morning, practice, you'd get to school and you'd already be
doing both.
exhausted,
Yeah.
and you just wouldn't have the energy to go on, and that really affected me while I was in freshman year.
So now that you're not doing sports, you would say like
Oh yeah,
focusing on your
even though
academics,
like
it's
like
way
taking harder
more-
classes in sophomore year, my grades like skyrocketed since I'm not tired when I'm.
I would say it's
going
also up to the
school.
person because everyone has their extracurriculars, everyone has, and
Everyone
like
could,
academics
like,
isn't for everyone.
sports
think
more
it's
than
always,
academics.
you know,
Maybe
to
not
the person.
necessarily sports specifically, but I think like athletics in general is just kind of necessary just to have as a part of your life. I think it's good to just have that as introduced early in your life anyways, even though it's not necessarily, it won't make you as successful as
Yeah.
maybe academics might.
Yeah.
Gives you something.
But it's like if you're healthy
Yeah,
and
academics is going to
clean
be with
and,
you
like-
no matter what, but athletics, I feel like you always need that person to like push you when you're like starting young, so like you can really see if you want to be into that, you know?
Totally. It's just two different ways you can, or both. you know?
Yeah, or both. And you know, I'm sure some people can manage both and be fine and do well.
Yeah.
And, you know. All right, and that's all for today. But remember, T Wolf Pack, there's always time to chat. We'll be right back after this break.
Now it's time for your pet of the week. This week we have sophomore Zach Ryan's dog, Ray. Ray is a very picky eater who usually takes food from people at the dinner table. Despite being a very hyperactive dog, she often gets sleepy and naps anywhere around the house. She also gets angry if you touch her foot with your foot. So if you'd like your pet to be featured on Pet of the Week, direct message us on our Instagram account at CPHS News or tweet us your videos in a short bio of your pet.
And that's today's Wolfcast. Thank you for taking time to join us during your day.
You can catch anything you missed and more on our X, YouTube, or TikTok at CPHS News.
Join us tomorrow for a feature story on a Princess T cast member. With CPHS News, I'm Lily Lynch.
I'm Reed Cummins.
And I'm Kira Cox. Remember to make it a great day or not. The choice is yours. Have a wonderful Wednesday, Cedar Park.